Hello, hello, hello. This is Jania Massey, and you guys may or may not know, but I am the founder and executive director of Stiletto University, which is a youth entrepreneurship program for girls for ages 11 through 18. And I'm so excited to be here with you today because we are kicking off our week. We're having a week of events today, and this is the first one. We are talking about all things career readiness, career journeys, career opportunities. And the reason why we're doing this is because we have noticed with the participants in our programming that they just want to kind of do hair or they may want to do nails or whatever, and nothing is wrong with that. But there's so many options to careers. And I know I never thought that I would have a career in entrepreneurship, but that's the way my life has led. And that's the journey that I am on as we speak. So we wanted to create this opportunity to have you to hear directly from what I like to call, we all call it Black Girl Magic, but hear directly from someone who has an amazing career that is doing something that is so impactful. And ironically, it is still in the beauty industry. So I'm going to introduce her. We have been talking behind the scenes, kikiing and all kinds of stuff. So we're going to kiki again in front of y'all, okay? So I want to introduce Dr. Ashley Taylor. She is the senior scientist for product research at Procter & Gamble, and she is in Mason, Ohio. Now, we talked a lot about Ohio. We talked about corned beef hash. I just learned about this, but we talked a lot about that today. But she's a senior scientist. She attended Winston-Salem State University, and she graduated with her bachelor's degree in chemistry in 2012. Also, in the fall of 2012, she joined the Department of Chemistry as a doctoral student at Louisiana State University and A&M College, defended and completed her master's degree in chemistry at LSU in 2015. She was awarded the degree of Doctor of Physiology. Did I say that right? Yes. In analytical chemistry with the specialty in nanoscience, nanotechnology from LSU in the fall of 2017. Now, y'all hear all of these degrees, right? Do what you want with it because she done been in school since she was born, all the way to be a doctor. You can't go no higher than a doctor. Okay. But I'm going to let that go there. So her current role, she's responsible for developing holistic Black health care solutions through the depth of understanding of customer, product, packaging, and technology. And she's in partnership with multifunctional peers for Gold Series and My Black is Beautiful. Now, if y'all don't know what this is, that is a part of the Pantene Gold collection. She can correct me when she get on here, but I know it's Pantene because I've seen it. It's Black Girl Magic. All of the bottle is gold. I see it in Walmart, Target, everywhere. But she is a part of that team. So how dope is that? Some other key things in here. She also is responsible for communicating the science behind hair for the entire P&G hair care category, which includes Head and Shoulders. And I don't want to tell my age, but Head and Shoulders been around, I feel like 100 years. I know I'm about to be 40, and Head and Shoulders has been around since I've been alive. So I'm going to just add 50 more years on top of that. Pantene and Old Spice. Ashley, she didn't talk about this with me. We're going to talk about it in person, but she also told me everything about her journey before, which deals with skincare. So we'll talk more about that now. But I want to bring Ashley up so we can get into this conversation because I know it's going to be so good. So y'all, while y'all are sitting here watching, put your left and right hands together in your living room and welcome Ashley Taylor. Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I saw you laughing at me with this boom shika introduction. I'm like, ma'am, you can't go no higher than a doctorate. Am I missing something? And then I'm like, this is probably why I stopped at biology, because I can't say half this stuff on here. And I got my Invisalign in. It's a lot going on right now. But you are the bomb. You are Black Girl Magic. And thank you. I will thank you 15,000 times for agreeing to be on this conversation with us.
Thank you. I'm here with Black Girl Magic myself. So I'm feeling the love. I feel the connection. So I'm happy I could be in your presence.
Yes, yes. So we always start off with our guests. We hadn't done this. We did this. We started like this series in 2020 during the pandemic, and we would kind of do quarterly chats about different topics.
Mhm.
So we're kind of bringing it back. But I mentioned earlier in the intro, we're having like this week about career journeys, career exploration, career paths, because I feel like this generation is really into hair and beauty, but they're not thinking about the true background, what it takes to get there, and I really want to make sure we do our part in our purpose journey of impacting young girls to expose them to that, because we both know once you get exposure, it helps you in so many ways.
Yes.
But we want to start off by our favorite game. I coined this game, This or That. So I'm going to give you some options. You have to choose one and you have to say why.
Okay.
Now, Dr. Ashley does not know what I'm about to say. So she probably going to think I'm crazy. But this is just what especially in our conversation we were having prior to. Okay, so we're going to kick it off.
Mm-hmm.
Would you prefer skincare over hair care?
Ooh. Hair care. And I only say that because this is a space where I get to work on consumers that look like me. The challenges that they have felt, whether it is detangling, I can't get enough moisture, my edges won't lay this way. Like that's exactly what I experienced. And I've never even knew I can work in a space like that. So I would say hair care, but low key, I mean, I really want to say skincare because I'm passionate about that too. Okay, I'm gonna say hair care. I'm say hair care because I could work on consumers that look like me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. CIAA or WSSU homecoming?
I'm going to say WSSU homecoming. And reason being is because I get to party with my Ramley. I get to meet new Ramley. We met at the last homecoming.
Yes.
So I feel like it gives me time to
That
really
homecoming that was canceled.
Right. We
That y'all
weathered the
still
storms, girl.
turned up at, yeah.
We weathered the storms. I got straight off that plane, got to that panel, and I immediately felt the love. So for me, it's going to be homecoming every time.
Okay. Ram Shack or cafeteria food?
Ooh, it's gonna be Ram Shack because I get my quesadilla. They add a little bacon up in
Oh,
there.
y'all had quesadillas? They had quesadillas.
Oh yeah, we had quesadillas, girl. We had the quesadillas. You had a little bacon up in there. They had the real good sour cream, and the hands that were preparing it, I knew they was gonna give me love every time. So it's gonna be the Ram Shack for me.
Dang, now I feel cheated. Y'all had quesadillas.
We had quesadillas.
Now I would have picked the Ram Shack too, but we had I used to always get a Philly cheese.
People love the Philly cheese. It was always like you get the Philly cheesesteak or the quesadilla. The quesadilla, though, it hit every time.
Got it. Okay. Next one. Wait, I gotta ask you this question. Are you a luxurious girl? Do you buy luxury items?
I'm like, can you see my background? I'm like, child, I do.
Oh, are those boxes back there?
Those boxes.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask this question.
Okay.
Gucci or Louis Vuitton?
Gosh, that's eating my boxes.
I kind of thought I saw an orange situation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say it's Gucci for me because every time I go, I have like an experience. Like I met with my glass of like Prosecco. They set me up in a room. I've been able to feel different fabrics of things. And then also it's the packaging for me. Like as somebody who has worked R&D from a scientific standpoint, like knowing that we have a packaging area, the boxes, the stitching, all that. And then low key, I can't, the boxes came in salmon pink and the inside was apple green. So, I mean, they was delivering for sure. Mm-hmm.
So I have on Louis Vuitton glasses right now.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I had on Gucci tights.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got beef, right? Because I'm a practical luxury girl, meaning I'm gonna buy something that I can wear multiple times.
That's facts.
So in my mind, I'm like, this may have cost a couple of $100, but I'm wearing it forever.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Mm-hmm.
But I had to return my Gucci tights because it had a hole in the crotch. Like it popped and had a hole in my crotch. So I returned it. They gave me, perfect customer service. Mm-hmm. I wore the new ones that I just got maybe 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I felt it pop.
Oh,
I felt it. And I said, I'm not doing this no more.
No,
I'm not doing this no more.
No. The tight, they be cute. They be cute, but they tight. So I just feel like I'm a something.
I said, I'm gonna have to figure this out. But I'm like, we're not doing this again. I'm not going through this
Mm-mm.
again. So yeah, so
No.
right now I'm beefing with them. Okay. East Coast or West Coast?
East Coast all day. Rosedale, Queens, moved to Piscataway, New Jersey. So it's gonna be East Coast all day. Although hubby's in the West Coast, at first when I went, I was like, I don't understand the hype. Like,
Yeah.
it's not all that. And then I
It's
went
gonna
and I was like, okay, I see it. But
yeah.
all day, every
It's
day,
vibey. It's vibey.
it's a vibe. But
Yeah.
it's gonna be me in New York on a rooftop having
I
my
got
good brunch every single weekend. I definitely miss that lifestyle. So it's East Coast for me.
East Coast. Okay. And last one. H&M or Zara?
Ooh, ooh. I'm gonna say Zara.
What's
And
your
I'm
favorite?
gonna say Zara because so our Zara in Ohio is trash, but I just went to the one in LA
Mm-hmm.
and it was the vibes for me that took all my money. So that Zara, it took all my money. H&M is cute. I feel like I get nice quality items for a
Yeah.
nice and decent price, but that
Mhm.
Zara just took me through when I went to LA on my last trip.
Yeah. Zara is my favorite, but we just found out today in Charlotte that we're getting a Zara here,
Ooh, okay,
but it's not coming to 2025.
dang.
That's what
I mean, come on, it's a franchise. You could just open up whatever's already there, just move the items in. Like, what are we
look,
doing?
that's the thing. It's gonna be at South Park, but it's like we know the stores like we know that y'all are prepped out the store. Like building
Yeah,
the store, like is empty spaces in the mall.
Girl,
So
just bring the stock on. What are y'all
it's
playing with?
what are y'all doing? It's just, wow. Everybody had the same reaction, like what 2025? Anyway, but thank you for indulging with me in that. That made me learn. You my kind of girl. We had the
Yes,
same answers. My
yes,
kind
yes.
of girl.
Mhm.
So Dr. Ashley mentioned at first how we met, even though we are proud alumni of Winston-Salem State University, the Winston-Salem State
Mhm,
University.
mhm.
We did not officially meet until was that September or
Yeah,
October? Whenever
September.
homecoming was. The
Mhm.
homecoming that Hurricane Ian it did shut it down, but people were still up there.
We were still outside.
So we both were on the same panel for career day or career. Is it called career? I don't know
I don't
what
know.
it's called,
Mhm.
but we was there and we were on the same panel, but we were sitting on opposite sides. And she did. I think I do recall you coming in, like right at in the nick of time. So we
Mhm.
had talked before, but as we were talking, answering the questions, when she said she was a chemist for Gold Pantene, like my head literally snapped. Like what? And it snapped because I also was a biology major and a minor in chemistry. And I remember, like, I'm a natural nerd. But I don't think I knew at that moment what area or direction my career could go into if I would have stayed with science in that
Mhm.
way. Now, granted, I'm not where I'm at is great. I love it. You know what I'm saying? But if I could have known that I could have been a chemist for skincare, I could have been working for Fenty, I could have been working for, whatever. I could have been on white labeling, all that stuff. Things probably would have been different.
Mhm.
But I want you to tell us about your journey through STEM and how you started. Were you always that kid that was into science? Did you grow to love it? And how did you get to be with Procter and Gamble?
Yeah, so thank you for that question because I feel like I always use my story to remind myself like I'm supposed to be here.
Mhm.
Some days I'm sitting there like, am I doing enough? And I think back to my journey. And so I grew up in Rosedale, Queens, New York. My parents both worked in the city. My mom worked at NYU in the hospital. So I was always around medical doctors from different fields. And my dad, still to this day, he works at Colgate, where he was working in their IT division. And so he majored in computer electrical engineering. So he was kind of
Mhm.
like an engineering nerd. Like he would have these projects he would bring home. All of our computer games were some type of STEM for us. Miss Frizzle was that girl on TV with the
Mhm.
magic school bus. And
Mhm.
so ideally science was always around me. My parents always made sure we were at, scientific museums, we were at the science fairs, competing in those things. And so STEM was always in the household. I think more along the lines of like, what was Ashley going to do? Is it going to be medical? Is it going to be engineering? And I'm like, it's
Mhm.
going to be
Mhm.
neither because I had a sense for beauty like at a
Right.
young age.
Right.
In a sense for beauty, in the sense of my mom would have all these products, she would have all these fragrances, and I was always in love with them. And I was always in love with the idea of like, how do I get this product? Like, how do we get to this part?
Mm-hmm.
And so I always knew as a kid I wanted to be in beauty, but I never heard of a beauty scientist. Anytime you heard of beauty, it was, oh, it's a model on TV, it's the marketing ads, and you have to look a certain way, you have to be a certain size, have a
Mm-hmm.
certain skin tone. It was never about what is the product development aspect.
Yes.
Um, I think because my dad worked at Colgate, I knew that, okay, there's something happening because he works at a company that makes products, but how do I get to more of that beauty side? And so
Mm-hmm.
it actually was in high school where I remember I was in junior year, I was throwing for track. So I threw shot put, jab, and discus.
Okay.
And I had a meet. I was very strong and focused on preparing for this meet. To the point where the following Monday I get to class, I have this test, and I totally forgot we even had a test.
Mm-hmm.
I made a C on this test without studying, so I passed,
Mm-hmm.
but it was still a C in the sense of it would mess with my average. And I'll never forget my chemistry teacher during like a parents teachers conference,
Mm-hmm.
her telling my parents like, yeah, Ashley shouldn't focus in science. She should probably focus in something else.
Right.
Which was crazy to me because I knew that it was always going to be science. I just didn't know what in
Right.
science. Like I never,
Right.
I never knew of another pathway outside of science. Never even thought of anything but science.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I am somebody where you cannot tell me no. Like I don't take
Mm-hmm.
no for an answer.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I just so happened to be applying to, colleges and different universities. And I decided, okay, she said I can't do it, so I'm going to major in chemistry. And I literally only applied to chemistry programs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how chemistry became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I got to undergrad, so I found out about Winston-Salem State through a college tour. So before like Winston-Salem State, I had no idea what a HBCU was. Like growing up in New York and New Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
it was like,
Yes. Unheard of.
yeah, it's unheard of. You're going to go to
Yeah.
Rutgers because it's up the street, or you're going to go to
Yeah.
NYU.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went on a college tour. I was able to go to see A&T, Bennett, saw Winston-Salem State, went down to
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta, saw Clark, Spelman, Morehouse, then went down to Alabama and saw Alabama State, and we actually attended Tuskegee's homecoming. So that immediately turned me on to HBCU life, and Winston ended up being my number one school because I just got to the campus. I didn't even see the campus yet, and I just felt like a lift of stress off my shoulders. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was like, okay, I went, talked to the chemistry program. It was awesome. I was able to enter a STEM program. It was like called SOP. And so I was an SOP student where we came in pretty much over the summer to start coursework. So
Mm-hmm.
that by fall we were truly in our major courses. And so that was very pivotal for me in the sense of starting my chemistry journey.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also was very big on like, okay, now how do I get to the beauty track? Like I don't hear
Right.
anybody, talking about the beauty track in school. Like what do I do? And so
And they don't talk
they
about it. It's
don't.
literally lab core or a doctor.
That's it. That's it. And it's like, I don't want to be either of these things. There has to be some other way. And so
Yeah.
literally I was very vocal about like, I don't care what it is, but Ashley needs to be making some lipstick for MAC or something like that by the time this program is over. And
Yes.
so my first year, I was working in the chemistry office, and one of the
Mm-hmm.
professors, Dr. Sayo Fakiode, he is still my mentor to this day.
Mm-hmm.
He walked into the office and he's like, "Why are you working in the office?" And I'm like, "I'm just in here trying to make some money. Like, and I'm
Right.
always in class here, so I might as well work in
And make
here."
it right.
Yeah.
Give me
And
secure the
so
bag. Let me get
like,
this
I'm just trying
bag.
to get the bag right before I go to class. That's
Because
it.
these science books ain't cheap.
Okay. Okay. That
They
part.
not
I'm
cheap.
trying to work. They make the money so that I could be fully attentive in class. And
Right.
so he was like, you should do research. And I had no idea what research was. I didn't know that I could work in a lab while in school. And he invited me to a senior seminar. And I'll never forget now Dr. Japel Sumter, who like has her own medical facility and all that stuff going on. She was presenting in seminar, and I remember she was spitting her chemistry like it was water. And
Come
I was
on.
like, this girl spitting. She has bars in this chemistry game. Like
Not
she is
bars.
talking about all the research and all the things that she's doing. And as I'm sitting there, I can hear my high school teacher in my head saying, "This is not for you. You should not be in this space." And it was really
Mm.
because I had no idea what she was talking about. Like she's just
Right.
talking about her research and going in, and I'm seeing student after student. And so I go to Dr. Fakiode after the seminar. I guess I made a mistake. I should not have applied for chemistry. He's like, what are you
Mhm.
talking about? And I'm like, these people are talking about chemistry like it's just a language that they know, like it's English to them. They can speak about it, they know what's going on. And he mentioned to me, like, oh, you're just starting. Like, you haven't been in a research lab. These people have been doing this for 4 years. Like, this comes to them because they have literally been working on this their whole time here. And so that was my first time, in a lab experience where he invited me to come to his lab, and it had been up from there. So I
Mhm.
had been part of many different internships with his program. I had been in different conferences, won awards, research awards, and stuff like that. So I'm like, I'm killing it. And after this, I'm gonna go I'm gonna go work for Mac. Like, I'm gonna go get to
Mhm.
this lipstick, and I'm gonna name these lipsticks some kind of way.
Mhm.
And he was more so like, no, that's not what you're going to do. You're going to go to grad school. And I hadn't even thought about grad school. Like, I thought, okay, once we went and got the bachelor's, we were good. We were going to go into the company and make all this money. And
Right.
he was like, no, you're going to go to grad school. And I tried to fight it. I tried to fight it in the sense of, no, I don't want to do any more school. I want to go. And he's like, look at all the research you're doing and the impact you're making from a chemistry standpoint.
Mhm.
And then I remember sitting at a conference, and they had on a PowerPoint showing if you went to school this much longer, how much bigger your salary can get. And I was staring at that screen, and as I saw the years kind of increase, I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm gonna go to grad school because I want that money. So that
Mhm.
led me to going to grad school, but still being very vocal about what are the skill sets that I need to be a beauty scientist? Like, what is going to make
Right.
me more marketable when it is time to enter the market?
Mhm.
While in grad school, they were still trying to push me to go to academia because I had a great love for my students. I taught at the undergraduate level. I taught ACT prep to the high school students in the Baton Rouge area. I also
Mhm.
taught in a math program for pre-K through fifth grade. Um,
Mhm.
so I love that interaction, and I think it was more so that mentorship, sponsorship piece.
Yeah.
I just knew that writing like paradigms and all that stuff, I was like, okay, I definitely don't want to do that. And if I have to
Mhm.
teach, it has to be from a beauty standpoint. So
Right.
it wasn't until I finished off, like, I started off in polymer chemistry because I was like, hey, this will give me my skill sets because they use polymers in beauty products all day. Realized
Mhm.
I didn't really like polymer chemistry because I was in a synthetic group, so it was all organic synthesis and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, no, this is not for me.
Mhm.
But, shout out to the organic chemists out there. They are bomb.com. It just wasn't for me. And so that's
Mhm.
when I moved into the nano surfaces area because in that space, it was about surface chemistry. And if I'm putting lotion on my skin, that's a surface. If I'm putting something
Mhm.
in my hair is now the surface. So I figured
Mhm.
I understood the chemistry there and how those properties work. Maybe that would make me more marketable for industry. And sure enough, I finished off at LSU in
Mhm.
2017, and I got a call from a recruiter to say, hey, I know you're interested in beauty and I have this opportunity. And it was for me to go join this smaller brand at Johnson and Johnson, which was Neostrata and Exuviance. And it
Mhm.
was a dope start because I'm like, wow, like it took me so long to finally get into this beauty space. I've been asking
Mhm.
about this. I now have all the skill sets I believe I need. Like, let me get into it. Um,
Right.
and so I was able to, start my beauty journey there as a formulator, which was a totally different area of science that I had never worked in before.
Mhm.
I got in there, I tried to learn the foundation, understand the principles, understand what ingredients work here and there, and so forth. I had many mentors, I had many peers who were teaching me things and stuff like that. And I was eating it all up because I'm like,
Mhm.
finally in the beauty realm. I'm finally, working in skincare. Like, who would have ever thought? So it's definitely a space where when we talk about beauty science, it's just unheard of. People don't talk about
Right.
this, and there's so many scientists in these spaces.
Right.
So for me, it's like I love talking about that story and telling people how I got in that space because I feel
Mhm.
like there could be scientists listening right now, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't even know that was an area. Let me look into it."
Right. That's why my head snapped so hard when you said, I was like, what? Gold painting? Like, I literally sat up and was like, wait a minute. I need to talk to her. Not because I wanted some hair products, but I just need to talk to you. I was just like, wow. Because again, here I am, I'll be 40 this year.
Mhm.
And again, I don't take back anything on my journey. But
Yeah.
I remember not passing micro twice. Like
Same.
Pierre. Like, I was like, what? Ain't no what you
I had
you know.
Joanna Kelly, Kelly something. I had to take her twice. It was
Yes, and
very
it's
real.
very much
Mhm.
it's a lot.
Mhm.
So thank you for sharing that in great detail. But
Yeah.
something you said that stuck out so much was mentorship. And
Yes.
even in us talking privately before we got on here, we were talking about you said mentor probably 4 or 5 times in the midst
Yes.
of it. Can you share with me your perspective or your thoughts around the value of mentorship, especially with not just from you becoming a chemist in the journey of your career, but even just in life in general? How has mentorship helped you during this journey so far?
Oh yes. So for me, I would not be where I am today without mentors. I call them
Mhm.
my own personal board of directors.
Right.
And also speaking to the fact of they're not all in chemistry. I needed people who can see Ashley for Ashley. I needed people to
Mhm.
say, get your stuff together. Like you messing up. Like you need to be on
Mhm.
this road path. Or I needed people to like give me those affirmations because it was hard. STEM is very hard. There's only a
Mhm.
certain percentage of us who make it in with our bachelor's degree, let alone going to a master's degree, then going to a
Right.
doctoral degree. Like we are not a
Right.
big percentage in that number at all.
Mhm.
And so when it came to mentors, I had my mentors in high school. You know, my mentors were the
Mhm.
ones that told me about the HBCU college tour. My parents didn't know about
Mhm.
HBCUs and so forth. They went to schools in New York. Um,
Right.
they were there to kind of help me, you know. In high school, they assign you a mentor, but I didn't have the right mentor. I didn't have the right mentor to let me know where it is I needed to go. So one of my mentors from high school to this day, she had a mentoring program for Black women in high school, and she brought us out, brought us to different experiences and stuff like that because she wanted us to see the many opportunities that were out there. Like our world is not limited.
Right.
So she made sure she took us in different places. Even in undergrad, Dr. Fakiote was a mentor. I had other
Mhm.
mentors in different departments. Shalee Broussard was, I call her Big Sis to this day. Like she would
Mhm.
speak into me and so forth, to
Mhm.
ensure that whatever I was doing, I had my head focused and in the game. Of course, I wanted
Mhm.
to have fun and do those things, and I was able to do that too. But I had people to let me know, like, okay, let's get back to it. Let's do what we need to do. Um,
Right.
in graduate school, I wanted to drop out every week. Every week I wanted to drop out. I was like, there's no reason why I need to do all this. Like, y'all
Right.
playing, y'all, I'm ready to go work in beauty and I'm not doing this. I'm not stressing myself over this. But I had people in there speaking to me. My pastor, he was my mentor, but before he was my pastor, I didn't even know he was a pastor. He just knew how to speak into me. And then one
Right.
day I went to a comedy show that a church was hosting, and it happened to be his church. And so I was like, why didn't you say you had a
That's
like
right.
that
You a
would have
pastor.
been
You right at the cloth. You right
okay,
there with the Lord. You
right.
hear directly from God.
Exactly. And he's like, "Oh, I just don't push it on people." But I joined his church because I was like, "No, like you're
You
speaking from a
spoke to
place
me. Right.
where, you know, this is what I need to hear to keep pushing." I had a mentor who was in sports athletics. He passed away a few years ago, but I would go
Mhm.
to him and be like, "Look, I he doesn't know a thing about chemistry at all."
Mhm.
But he knew
Mhm.
life.
Mhm.
He knew what he experienced. He knew things and he knew ways to talk to me in the sense of how to get into my head because
Right.
sometimes, like I said, I don't take no for an answer. And sometimes it was
Right.
like, Ashley, you need to be knocking on that door. That door's not for
Right.
you. You need to take the no from that answer. So I
Right.
think mentorship is important because, again, it kept me grounded, it kept me focused, and it also opened me up to many ideas. Like I said, in
Mhm.
beauty, you never seen what beauty can do. And being in graduate school, I was actually able to get a mentor who worked in beauty.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
yeah, and so she was able to, you know, help me spread my wings in a space where it was new to me. I wanted to take
Mhm.
everything at one point, but it was like, pace yourself, girl. Like you're gonna get there.
Yeah.
And so I take my mentors very seriously. I check in with them all the time. I
Mhm.
value them in the sense of, you know, they're giving me their time. And so I need to come to them in the sense of this is what's going on, this is what's happening, or just even checking in with them to say, hey, everything's going good, or no, things are
Mhm.
going horribly. So I take mentorship very, very big.
Mhm.
To the point where I helped implement a mentorship program while I was at J&J. Um,
Awesome.
when I think about sponsorship,
Mhm.
that's also a very important space where a lot of people don't talk about either, in the sense of I have mentors that I could be real with, get real down to earth with, and so forth. But I also have sponsors where I get real with them to a certain level, but they're in rooms that I didn't even know existed. And they can speak
Right.
on my name and on my behalf
Mhm.
and make sure that whatever it is I'm trying to get to, no,
Mhm.
Ashley's good. She'll be good for this. You know, you should put her in this space. Like roles that I didn't know
Mhm.
existed. they're speaking
Mhm,
on my name in
mhm.
a great place. And so I make sure that, I keep those people around me because they challenge me to be a better me.
Mhm.
I think I'm the best today, but there's way more levels I can get to, just following their
Absolutely.
guidance.
Now, I want to go back to when you said basically your first job right after you finished with school, and it was
Mhm,
in the industry that you wanted it to be.
mhm.
Did you feel like you made it in that moment?
Oh my God. I did, because the thing is like you said, when you're coming out of school, it's go be a medical doctor, go work at LabCorp, or go into academia. And for me,
Mhm.
I was always the rebel in my space of being loud about, I'm going to beauty. Like, y'all keep telling me about these other
All
things,
these
and I
other
don't want to
things,
do
yeah.
that. And so when I got that call, it was like, are you kidding me? Like, is this for real?
Mhm.
And so when I think about, like I said, I love talking about my story and the journey in the sense of like, as I kept praying about things, manifesting things, being loud about what it is I wanted to anybody and everybody who would listen, those
Mhm.
doors have opened for me. So I was so excited because I was like, I'm finally where I want to work. I finally get to do the science that I actually want to do. And then I was the only Black scientist in that area.
Mhm.
And so for me, it was exciting, but also very important because now I felt like, oh, I have to be an advocate in this space. Like, now that
Right.
I'm here, I owe my people something. Like, this
Oh
isn't
God.
just for me. I have to make sure
Mhm.
that my people are heard in these spaces.
Yes. And that is so, oh my God, you said the word advocacy. Like, granted, we know that women, especially Black women, are the fastest growing, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship.
Mhm,
But in a little bit of my journey, I worked because I got the biology degree, I
mhm,
got the master's in healthcare administration. I was like, maybe I'll just run a clinic, because I was
mhm,
like, I thought I wanted to be a physical therapist. Nope, don't want to do
mhm,
it.
mhm,
Don't want to be a doctor, all those things. And I went into that trying to keep the track. But then when I decided to part ways with my corporate job, I wanted to go into what I've always done, which is serving, which is
mhm,
nonprofit, which is a completely new industry for me.
mhm.
But one thing with the word advocacy, I did not know how much I was going to have to advocate for people that look like me. We
Yes.
do not get funding.
No, we don't. We don't get
Even worse,
funding.
it feels worser being a Black woman, right?
Mhm,
It
mhm.
feels worser. So you said advocacy. So I'm so glad you said that because STEM blew up from my perspective, especially in the nonprofit space.
Yeah.
STEM, everybody was funding STEM. Everybody wanted to talk about STEM,
Mhm,
STEM, which made it very trending topic in the nonprofit space.
mhm.
So my question to you is, since you are a part of the community of these people of color
Mhm.
that's in the space, do you feel like STEM has changed during your time being in this industry, or do you feel like it's so much further to go? Do you see change?
Oh, I definitely see change. I still feel like there's so much more to go because there's still some
Mhm.
doors we haven't knocked down yet. Because again, it's just due to access and access to the
Right,
knowledge of even knowing that it exists, right?
right.
Just recently, like now on social media, I'm seeing brown Black beauties as STEM cosmetic scientists like pop up on my feed from all different avenues. And I'm like, yo, where has this community been? Like, where have these
Yeah.
girls been? Where are they working? What are they doing? Some of them aren't in the industry. Some of them are literally just doing it to get an industry. Some of them are starting off their own businesses so that there's awareness of like, yes, we know what's in our products. We can speak about them. Like, this is the
Mhm.
science. And so I feel like it's definitely a blooming area and it's exciting because that lets me know that okay, we all need to keep speaking so that people behind us, people next to us, or even
Mhm.
people like before us can see that we are in the room and we're ready to take over and take over in the sense of we want to be in those spaces. We want to be heard and make sure we're leaving a pipeline for those behind us to come into these spaces as well. Um, there's definitely a lot more, I definitely say the growth is happening. Like I said, I'm seeing a lot of it on social media. Also being a part of organizations. So and part of it's called Novachet, which is a national organization for the professional advancement of Black chemists and chemical engineers. Very long name.
It's long.
But it's an awesome organization because it was a conference. It's a community where I'm seeing people
Mhm.
who look like me working in chemical companies, working as chemical
Mhm.
engineers, working in different areas and aspects of STEM. And so
Mhm.
as they go out and as they're doing, their magic in many of their different industries and stuff like that, we're
Mhm.
making sure to say, hey, like if there's any openings, any opportunities, internships, we have students that are coming up to us to even talk about, what it is
What's
that we
going on?
do. We're
Right.
now sparking those minds in the sense of like, oh, I don't have to go be like, great, go be a medical doctor. Of course, we need those. We need us in those rooms as well. But there's
Mhm.
another pathway. You can use your science in many different ways. So
Right.
let me show you. So this way, if you are interested, wonderful. If you're not interested, at least you know that there is an area and maybe you can turn somebody else to that opportunity.
Right, 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 right. To know the options because it's
Mhm,
so much, so much. You're dropping so many gems.
mhm.
So, can you walk me through the day in the life of you going to work at Procter and Gamble?
Yes. So day in a life. So I'm in product research and products research in hair care. And
Okay.
so what I get to do is I get to talk to many consumers about their journeys in their hair care journey, their life journey, anything they want to talk to me about.
Mhm.
Just so that I can learn and understand, what's going on in our spaces when it relates to hair care specifically. A lot of times this gives me time to just listen and listen because for so many years, Black women weren't thought of when it was coming to, identifying what beauty looks like, right? Like
Mhm.
growing up, a lot of times you would see more of those Eurocentric features. You would see, oh, she has long blonde hair and that's why she's so beautiful. And so for me, it's being able to talk to women of African ancestry to understand what does beauty mean to them. And then when it comes to their hair care, what do you feel like is missing? What's missing from a standpoint of I'm going to the shelf and I don't feel represented. I don't feel heard. I've been looking for this product, but that product doesn't exist today. So trying to understand them and meet them where they are, so then I can go back to my R&D team, go to my brand team, and we go produce what it is they're looking for. And of course, it's based on business strategies. So whether that is things for moisture, whether that's things for length retention, maybe she's not getting the deep conditioning that she needs. I work as the R&D scientist to help design what that product line would look like next for the next year. And so that could be, a conditioner, it could be a treatment, a mask, it could be an edge control and what have you, but making sure that the consumer voice is heard so that this way we're making sure we're meeting them where they feel like they need to be met. So day to day, I'm working with my fragrance partners, I'm working with my packaging partners, my formulation team, my process team, I'm working with my brand strategists, I'm working with my scientific communications partners to make sure that, hey, are we educating the people on what it is that we're doing correctly from a scientific standpoint? I'm working with my communications people to make sure that they're bringing brand awareness to what Gold Series or My Black is Beautiful may be doing. And so
Mhm.
day to day, I'm working in collaboration with all these people with all different skill sets to ensure that we deliver on what it is the consumer is asking for.
So it's never a dull day, sounds like.
Oh no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay. Every day is like, oh my God, what is going on now? Like, what do we need to do? Like, what do we, okay, this is the next hot thing. Like, is that something worth going after and so forth? So
Yeah.
it's fun because I get to see it from a scientific standpoint in the sense of we have very big R&D facility. We pride ourselves in being R&D scientists and so forth. So we
Mhm.
get to see that magic from ideation all the way to like, I actually have a product.
So, has there been a product that from ideation that you knew was going to be it, like a bestseller from the beginning to it got on the shelves?
I feel like I feel that way about every product I touch. And I
Okay.
say that in the sense of like, as we do different initiatives, like I said, I started off in skincare, now I work in hair care.
Mhm.
At the time, we do a lot of research. And when we do this research, we really work with like our data analytics partners to understand, hey, is this worth the size of prize? Like, is this worth our bite?
Mhm.
And so for me, of course, when it came to, if I have to think of products, I always think of serums because I feel like those are like, for me, like my best treatment. Like
Yeah.
that's where I'm going to get what I need for my skincare. So when I've worked in that space, like that to
Mhm.
me felt like I was making an impact because for me, it was like, anytime I dealt with my hyperpigmentation or my acne and stuff like
Mhm.
that, that's what I was running to. So I would definitely say
It's
I have a
literally
bias.
beauty in a bottle.
It literally, literally. So I would
Literally,
definitely
yeah.
say for the serums that I had part in and helping, bring that to market, like those would be it. But then I feel like I get challenged every time a consumer comes to me and says, "Oh, no, this is still not hitting. Like something's still missing in my regimen and I need this." I feel
Mhm.
like I'm challenged each time. And I feel like when I finally get that product out, I'm like, yes, we made it until another problem arrives.
So, is there something that you do in your job now that you didn't expect you would be doing?
I would definitely say, as a scientist, I wouldn't have expected to have a commercial on BET. I wouldn't have expected to be a
Yes.
stage presence at Essence.
Mhm.
These were all things where I'm like, wow, like that'd be awesome. But people don't typically focus on the R&D aspect. It's mostly from
Right.
like the brand and the marketing side. So I never
Mhm.
thought ever that I would be in those
Mhm.
places. And then like even going through them, I'm sitting there and I'm answering questions, or I'm reading my lines for my commercial and stuff like that, and I'm like, you do realize this is going on TV. Like
Right.
this is
Where
going to be
everybody's
playing
gonna see
somewhere,
it.
right? Like going
Right.
to Essence Fest. Like I used to go to Essence Fest every year as a grad student because it was right up the street. And so it was
Right.
like, you do realize you used to be an attendee and now you're a
Right.
stage presence.
Now
Like,
your talent, your talent,
yeah, so
your
I would have
talent.
never guessed going to the Black Panther premiere. Like, I
Mhm.
would have never guessed that going through this path and being in the rooms that I was able to be in based off the skill sets that I had would allow me to, experience those things. And so I'm thankful every day. Like literally, I'm like, what else is it gonna bring? And do I get another
Mhm.
taste? Because I kind of liked being in Hollywood. So
Right,
um,
right.
I would say those pieces. If you would have told me that while I was in class at WSSU down on the first floor in one of them labs, I wouldn't have
Mhm.
believed you.
Yeah, I can understand that. So, in honor of Women's History Month, name a woman that has inspired you and why.
Oh, yes. So my mentor, Dr. Rolanda Wilkerson,
Mhm.
she is, I mean, there's nothing that this woman doesn't do.
Mhm.
So she was actually my mentor who pretty much introduced me to the beauty game. And so
Mhm.
when I was a graduate student at LSU, I remember always going to Professor Isaiah Warner, who was the only Black professor in our department at LSU who was very big in recruiting Black talent into our chemistry program. So LSU used to be number one in producing Black PhDs in chemistry.
Mhm.
And it was because of the work that he put into us. And so I would tell them, I would scream to everybody, like, I want to work in beauty. And finally he was like, just go talk to Rolanda. And I'm like, I don't know who she is. And he's like, find her, you'll find her. I was going to a conference and she was apparently going to be there, but she was out on maternity leave. But I was
Mhm.
able to get her phone number and stuff. And, her journey through beauty as a Black woman. I mean, she's touched projects globally. She spoke at many different conferences. She mentors people. She's always out in the community and still being a force in the beauty sector.
Mhm.
She's been acknowledged by many different entities and stuff like that in the beauty industry. And to have her, as a mentor who I talk to all the time, making sure, I have my head up straight, just making me see the positive, making me see the light, understanding like, yes, there's some negative things there. Glad that we talked about it. Move them out the way because
Mhm.
you have a road path you need to be on. And so,
Right.
she keeps me in line. She keeps me inspired. I just admire her. And so to
Mhm.
have somebody in my corner every step of the way to sponsor me, not just from a mentorship standpoint, from a sponsorship standpoint, um,
Mhm.
and being a Black woman in beauty, I just feel like it gets no better than that. And so literally, she is everything to me.
I love it. I love it. Look, I want to meet her.
Yeah, she is amazing. She is absolutely amazing.
Okay, we go out to brunch, girl.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of get so just personal.
Mhm.
What do you feel was your fondest memory from Winston-Salem State?
Oh my God, my fondest memory from Winston-Salem State, I would have to say, is being, I guess, seeing my friendships kind of grow from my
Mhm.
SOP program and even
Mhm.
still to this day. So, I have my bestest sisters. I have my CLMC family.
Mhm.
Like we literally we have a book club together. We also have like a every 2 week goals chat, where we go on a Zoom call, talk about our goals and what it is that we're trying to hit.
Mhm.
I mean, my roommate Takia Tarshana killed a spider for me the first day I moved into my dorm, and I was like, "Oh, you're gonna be my best friend," because
Forever.
who else would do that for me? Who would
Right.
do that for me so that I could sleep at night? So I would definitely say my fondest memory would be starting off in the SOP program, because
Mhm.
in that moment was like that's where I'm truly beginning my scientific journey. And to see
Mhm.
where we all are today, everybody is in their fields that we claimed back then. So to see the
Mhm.
beauty in that and them growing in their space, it always brings me back to summer of 2008 in SOP.
Mhm. Love it, love it, love it. So, what would be your advice for your younger self?
Ooh, my younger self. Ooh, well, I guess what I said was earlier is like, again, I think it's a quote I live by to this day is never let them tell you no.
Yeah,
Had I allowed my chemistry teacher to say, hey, you need to go do something else, I probably wouldn't be here today talking about beauty. I don't know where I would have been because, like I said, I only knew that science was an option for me.
right,
But had I allowed those negatives to come in, because there was many times I struggled throughout the journey. The journey was never easy. Being a STEM
right.
student was very hard. Like trying to be a STEM student, maintain my social life, maintain my relationship. Like my husband today is who I dated my freshman year at Winston-Salem State.
Mhm.
And so maintaining those relationships and so forth, that allowed me to kind of stay on the pathway. Like anytime those no's came to me, those were my support systems to say, no, you got this. Like they're saying no because they don't want you to do this. That's their
Mhm.
plan. And if you don't do it, they win.
Right,
So I would definitely say, keep strong on that. Keep your head front and keep very, very vocal about what it is you want, what you want to do, because you never know who you will meet that'll put you in position to
right,
do what you want to do. So I would just tell her, keep going, sis, because you got what you wanted.
right. And I love that because I do feel like, even I think sometimes with adults, what you stated early was your village, your community,
Hmm.
that community or that social capital came from college, but
Yes.
y'all doing the book clubs, y'all talking about goals, y'all,
Hmm.
and being articulating what those goals are.
Yes.
Because again, we don't know who we're going to meet and we don't know who's going to connect us. We don't know who are in those rooms you mentioned earlier that's
Yep.
going to talk about opportunities, and they know to pitch your name because you probably told them like, this is what I want to
Exactly.
do. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? And your whole everything that you have shared with us thus far has been about you, one, knowing what you wanted to do and not stopping till
Yes.
you got there. And I think that is something that a lot of times some people don't learn that till later,
Hmm.
or they get stuck in the no, you
Yeah.
know.
And
And
it's very easy to, right? Because those
mhm,
no's are very loud. You'll be on a
very,
pathway saying, like, I'm going here. And that no is like, nah, like that ain't
mhm,
happening, sis. And so
mhm,
for me, it's knowing that it was a world of unknown. Beauty was a world of unknown that I've been wanting to know since I was a child. And it
mhm,
was like, I have to figure this out. I have to know how to get in those spaces. And especially as a Black woman who is into beauty, who's giving all the beauty people my money all the time. Like, I need to
right,
understand why I'm giving you my money. And I want to
right,
make sure that whoever I know is giving you their money knows what they're getting. And so
right.
I literally love my community, love my board of directors, love my friends, my family, because they were there to every time I wanted to walk away. There were many times I wanted to, like I said, I quit grad school every week. They were telling me, like, no, there's a reason why you're in this spot. If it was easy, everybody would be in here getting this degree with you and it would be
Yes.
kumbaya all the time, but they're not.
Mhm.
So you need to do this. And so I just kept my consumer being, that Black woman, that young Black girl in my mind, in a sense of, I'm doing this for you because I want to make sure you have a voice in that room.
Love it, love it. So another personal question.
Mhm.
What is your favorite hobby? Do you have a hobby? What do you do for fun?
I love to dance. I love,
I'm a
love,
twerk team
love.
captain
Okay,
girl.
yeah, twerk team, Zumba, all that. I've done pole gymnastics for a few years now.
Hmm.
I started it in grad school as just a different type of workout because I knew I had to work out. I hate working out, but I know we talked about this.
We
Like, I
talked.
really don't want to do this, but I needed something that was challenging, that was fun, and so for me, it's pole fitness. I had got off for a few years because I was at a studio in Louisiana.
Hmm.
And then once I moved back to New Jersey, I was like hopping around to different studios, but I couldn't find the vibe I needed.
Mhm.
And so just recently, one of my good sis from SOP called me out and was like, I remember when you used to do this, like, what's going on? Where's that at?
Right.
I hear songs and I feel like you have great choreography for that. And
Yes.
so because of her, literally that week, I looked for a studio out here and I've been there since. So I think
Awesome.
it's fun. It's challenging. It's women empowerment. The community is also there. Is very nice and dope. So that's something I like to do.
Yeah. And I asked that question intentionally because I know a lot of times people don't realize that when God has given you a purpose, you the only one with the glasses on that can see what that path is.
Yes.
And because of that, nobody else can see it. So they don't
No
understand
one.
your decisions. They don't understand why you so disciplined, why you so focused, why you so engulfed. It's more than just work. And it's like, no, this is a part of my purpose. And
Yes.
I'm now in that stage of like, what are my hobbies? So
And to that point, like you say, glasses, I tell people crowns. Like my crown won't fit you
yes,
because it was a crown made for me, whereas your crown won't fit me because it was made
right.
specifically for you. So, when we're talking about the different pathways and stuff like that, it's always interesting to hear what people like to do and what are their outlets and stuff because we also need
Mhm.
that for balance.
We need that. And we need it for ideas too,
Yes,
or
yes.
just, people laugh at me, but I've kind of shown, if you follow me on my personal page on social
Mhm.
media, I got into carpentry.
Yes. Oh,
That
I
is,
sent that to a friend because she's into carpentry, and I was like, "Oh, you need to get in this group. You need to sign up for the wait list." So, yes,
yes,
I saw that, and I was like, "Oh, yes, let me connect. Let me make sure she get on the wait list."
yes. And then it's just, I'm like, who would I thought, now if y'all see me on HGTV, because I keep talking that into existence,
Yes,
she's gonna be
you're
called
gonna be there. You're gonna
right.
be there.
Jania did it. Jania she just got up and did it. Okay.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was like, it has been the most fulfilling hobby for me, and when I say hobby, yeah, you can monetize off if you want to, but it literally calms me and it helps me to regroup in my brain, because my brain is just like work, 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 fundraise,
Mhm.
fundraise, fundraise, oh my God, I gotta serve, and I'm always serving people. So it
Yes.
helped me fill back up my cup.
Mhm.
um One other question I have before I get to the audience Q&A, which I see we do have a question.
Okay.
What do you see for the future of STEM?
For the future of STEM is honestly, again, when I think about my friends who are in different science spaces, we are always big on speaking about what it is that we do. We're at the conferences, listening to the different policies that are going in place, going to recruiting events and stuff like that. So I just see it getting Black AF. And Black
Mm,
AF in the sense of now that people can see that there's so many different avenues to enter into the STEM world, even now it's STEAM, adding the art piece into it.
right.
I just feel like our world is going to get bigger. It's going to get blacker, more creative because in more rooms than not, we are always the blueprint of what everybody else is creating. And once they start recognizing that, it took Black Lives Matter for them to understand that we have voices, we have talent, we have innovation, we have all of those things
Mhm.
to take you guys to the next level. But you weren't listening before. It had to take somebody dying for you to listen to us.
Right.
So as I think about these spaces, the world of STEM and even STEAM, it is going to get Black, and I am so excited for it because again, it's finally like, yes, my people, we are here. We have made it. We have come. We
Yeah.
owe the many steps that it took us to the people before us who were in these spaces who were all alone, had to work in these spaces
Mhm.
during segregation and stuff like that. So we
Mhm.
owe it to them to keep creating and innovating in these spaces. So I see it just getting bigger from a Black standpoint.
I love it. I love it. So what's next for you in your career?
Next for me, so again, I am somebody who I know I'm going to be in the beauty realm forever. If I ever come out of it, I don't know what it is I would be doing.
Mhm.
Another thing I like to do is travel. And so ideally, I want to go travel the world just to understand what are the beauty concepts from other
Mhm.
countries,
Mhm.
understanding like what does beauty mean to them? What do different ingredients mean to them? Like what is the
Mhm.
history of beauty, through their eyes and so forth. So to me, it's honestly just going around the world. Like people love to go eat. Like I love to go eat. So I'm going to be understanding the ingredients for the food too.
Yeah.
But I want to know it from a beauty standpoint in the sense of what are they doing in India? Like what are they doing in
Yeah.
Africa? Like what's
Yeah.
going on in Greece? What y'all doing in
It's
Turkey?
funny you say Africa, because I just bought my flight to Africa today.
So when I was at WSSU, I went to South Africa
Yeah, I'm going to
for a
South
field
Africa.
trip. Oh my God, it was so bomb. It was
Yeah.
amazing, eye opening. I cried every day because I was like, how is this place so beautiful and the people so beautiful? Like
Mhm.
amazing. Oh, you're gonna love it.
Yeah, literally right before this call.
I wish
Like,
I was coming with you. It is amazing.
flight has been booked. Yes, flight has
Yes,
been
come
booked.
on.
So we ready to go.
Yeah.
So we have two questions in
Okay.
the chat. The first one is, have you created your own formula that can be used as private label for small beauty industry companies?
So I know I have not, only because I work in such big corporations. Like anything
Mhm,
that we create from a standpoint of formulation, or if we're reformulating stability and stuff like that, that is
mhm,
property of the company. So I've never formulated outside of then. If I had to, and if I could legally, I could easily do that, because
mhm,
it's literally been my career. But because
mhm.
I worked for multiple companies in such of a big space,
Yeah.
legally, it's not something that I could practice on the side.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then we have another question. Are there any other areas of beauty you want to explore outside of hair?
Yes. So I have done skin, I have done hair, and even with hair, I've done scalp. I would definitely say color is a place that I haven't played too deep in. So,
Ooh,
like color foundations, whether
yeah.
that's foundations, eyeshadows, blushes, things of that nature. Because majority of the color stuff I did was more so in like clear formulation. So whether that was
Mhm,
cleansers, toners,
mhm,
sometimes I did it in emulsification systems, so maybe like creams, masks, stuff like that. But I've never played with it from a foundation standpoint, maybe even nail polishes or something like that. So I think I would want to go to some of
ooh,
those pigmented areas just to
mhm,
say I've touched on each thing. From a skin standpoint, I've done cosmetic skin. I've also done like medicinal skin from a dermatology standpoint. So I got to work on both. And then hair care, it's I get to touch different things every day. So I think it's more so that color piece that I haven't had a chance to kind of become an expert
to
in. So I
get
don't,
into.
that and fragrance. Fragrances are like, I did a fragrance
Ooh.
training once and it was so bomb. Like if I could go be like a professional nose, that would be another thing I would do.
I was recently taught, because now people are doing like the lip and pour where you make your own lipstick,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
they're doing the fragrance class, and I'm
Mhm.
like, are they scientists? Like, I mean, not saying they can't do it, but I'm like, how
Right.
they know this?
Some
Is
of
this
them, some of them are scientists. Some of them are formulators in their own spaces and stuff like that. But yeah, like there is literally like in the world like a certain amount of, they call them literally professional noses. Like they go to school in other countries so that they know different notes of things and how to
like,
blend
that
them.
sound like a sommelier for
Yeah,
daggone
pretty much a
fragrance.
sommelier for fragrance.
That's
Mhm.
what that sounds like. Oh, that's so, yeah, because I'm just now getting into
Mhm.
fragrances,
Mhm.
but very, very interesting.
Yeah.
So let me check my cell phone real quick to make sure. Because, oh yeah, one more question that I did have. What's your advice around internships for young girls, especially coming out of
Yes.
college? What would your advice be for that?
So definitely I would say look into internships at very big company, any company that you can get in, because on my experience of working in these companies, a lot of the talent that come in are people that have worked as an intern or a co-op with these companies. And it's
Okay.
awesome because in the internship, they get to see real life problems, like real world issues, and they get to work on these things. And so
Hmm.
even if you, let's say you don't work at that company, you now have something on your resume to say, I have helped solve this problem at a global level. I've helped solve this
Right.
problem at a national level.
Right.
So typically, I want to say when it came to some of the companies, like their internship applications will come out around like January, February timeframe. So, look into those, but also like some of the supplier companies, ingredient companies, like anywhere you can get that real world experience outside of just in school
Hmm.
would be awesome. Even if you have it just in school, the fact that you're working on something that's extra on top of your work kind of shows them that you have a passion for the work and so forth. So any way to kind of build your skill set, I would say is definitely important. But if you have an internship or a co-op, the companies that I've been introduced to and that I've been a part of, they love to see it because then you also create a family or like a set of mentorships and sponsorships there because now that they
Hmm.
got a chance to see you and you in action, maybe it's them bringing you on their team or them, referring you to another team that you're applying to and so forth. So you get the experience, you get the people,
Hmm.
and you can use that as all the way marketing tools, whether it's via interviews, boosting up your resume, and so forth. So it's a great way to just get inside of the industry. And aside from just internships, like plug being in beauty, I was part of the Society of Cosmetic Chemists in undergrad, even to
Mhm.
this day.
Okay.
And while being in Society of Cosmetic Chemists, I was able to meet different chemists in different aspects. They had webinars, conferences, classes.
Mhm.
They would have even like social gatherings, and that was another way to kind of build out your network there too, while you weren't in industry yet. So even the organizations and stuff, joining those things just to build out your network, because again, they might
Mhm.
be talking about opportunities that you just didn't know were there.
Right. Awesome. 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 Well, Dr. Ashley Taylor, thank you for your time today. You
Yes.
dropped so many gems. You are so inspiring.
Thank you.
You are that girl.
Thank you,
Okay.
girl. Thank you, girl.
You are that girl. So we really
Likewise.
do.
Likewise.
Yes. Thank you, sis. We really do appreciate it. And I can't wait. I will be sharing you all the feedback from our participants and those that are
Yeah.
watching today.
Yeah.
And that is it. So, guys, we are wrapping this up. If you have any questions, Ashley, can people follow you, reach you?
Yeah, so feel free to follow me on Instagram. I'm Mahi, Mahee. I'm on LinkedIn as I think it's Ashley M. Taylor, Ashley Taylor, PhD.
Mhm.
Feel free to reach me out there, send me a message. If there's any way that if you need advice or just want to talk about being in the space of cosmetic chemistry, I am an open book. So please follow. Please send a note out. I'll even share with you, Jania, my email address. So if there's anybody that wants to contact me directly to have a conversation, we can do that too.
Awesome, awesome.
Mhm.
So, thank you guys for watching, and we will be back with another edition. We don't know who we're gonna interview, but we got the magic. Okay, so
Yes.
have a good night for those that are watching, and make sure you watch the replay to learn just more about Dr. Ashley Taylor.
Yes. Thank